Let's imagine a remote island with 100 human inhabitants. A little hypothetical society decides to use a currency system to engage labor and to organize their resources. So they collect little shells and number them. They figure we're going to get 1,000 shells in circulation, and each person will be given 10 shells, and they start to exchange. At some point, one of the inhabitants, for whatever reason, finds his or herself in the position where they don't have enough shells to meet their needs. So they think for a second and they say, okay, I have my friend, maybe I can borrow some shells. So they decide to ask a friend if they can borrow 4 of their shells. And the friend agrees, but only on the condition that those 4 shells will be paid back with 2 shells added as a service fee. So they agree, and suddenly this pattern takes hold, and everyone on the island kind of begins to trade these shells as a commodity. They start to loan shells to each other for whatever purposes are necessary whenever there's a deficiency for whatever reason, in exchange, of course, for the extra shells on top. And then something really strange happens when they start to do this. Many of the inhabitants find themselves in debt to others for extended amounts, very frequently and at increasing rates. Eventually, most everyone seems to be in debt to everyone else. Something is very strange in their mind. They can't quite figure out what's going on. So the little society gets together at a meeting, and they start to calculate what everyone owes to everyone else, and they find that for every 4 shells loaned, a fee of 2 shells was added, of course, and then they figure that the entire money supply had been cycled in one iteration, which meant 1,000 shells loaned 4 at a time. It produced 250 transactions. 2 shells charged per transaction, so therefore 500 shells are needed to settle the debt responsibility of the total society. But they scratch their heads because there's only 1,000 shells in circulation, so where are the other 500 shells going to come from? And then they naturally think for a moment, and in an embarrassed fashion, they cancel all of their debts universally. They laugh at themselves and wonder how they could ever have been so foolish to begin with. And this brings us back to this absurd spectacle of ignorance and insanity that I don't really know what to say after the more I think about it. But the global debt crisis is fundamentally the result of the fact that our money is created out of debt, and it's brought into existence through loans. We charge interest on it, on those loans. And regardless of what you hear any government official, media on this planet claim as to the solution of this supposed debt crisis, which is almost universally related to cutting budgets and social programs or endless IMF refinancing, imposing austerity, of course, which I'll talk about in a moment, nothing can or will stop this cancerous debt growth without outright global debt cancellation. Again, nothing. And if there's anything you walk away from this meeting with, I hope that is one thing.